If you have ever put yourself in a position whereby you're scared, you look at yourself, or you can't even look at yourself. People tell you what they think you are, you accept it as the truth. People tell you what they want you to be. And while you're trying to please everybody else, you're losing every aspect of your being. My name is Dr. Duni from Duro Academy, and I'm going to share with you how you can accept yourself by practicing 5 things on a daily basis. Some of these things are things you do, and some are things you avoid doing. When you are faced with people or situations dictating who you're meant to be, you find yourself wanting to become a people pleaser. And you know the funny thing about being a people pleaser? I've been there. People pleaser number 1. And by being a people pleaser, guess what? I was not happy. I felt depleted. I was exhausted. And besides, those people were not happy. It did not make them like me more. As a matter of fact, I became a shadow of myself while I was trying to please them. So right now, it is my mission to tell people to step into their power. And how do you step into your power? The first step is to accept yourself. Some people will feel that maybe they've done something in the past that they're ashamed of. Or there's something that people have repeatedly said to them that they've currently accepted as their truth. And that's the reason why they struggle to accept themselves. I'd like to tell you that for you to achieve anything, including accepting yourself, it needs to be a constant practice, something that you would constantly do, and it becomes a habit. It becomes second nature. And guess what? You will accept yourself, embrace yourself, celebrate yourself, and become who you are meant to become. The first habit is give yourself daily hugs. Yes, daily hugs. It has been found that human contact has an increased way of enhancing the well-being of others. There was a time when some children were born and they were not given that human contact. They were given food, they were given everything else, but all the cuddles and the care and contact that people had with children, especially babies, they were not given. Among these children, they found out that they failed to thrive. They died. So it wasn't the lack of food, the lack of drink. It was the lack of contact. So when you see that you are losing the essence of yourself, the first thing you need to do is to connect. Rather than looking for someone else to give you a hug, you start by giving yourself a hug. When you show people how to love you, then they would love you. When you show that you love you, you will be able to demonstrate how people can express their love and concern for you. So we're trying as much as possible that these simple practices are things you can do and you don't depend on anybody else. So that first thing, giving yourself the hugs, apart from the fact that it enhances your well-being, it also releases some chemical that soothes you and makes you feel comforted, protected, and cared for. The second habit is a do not habit. And that is where you need to guard your eyes. Yes, Be aware of the things you see, and do not look at and see things that are not adding value to your life. I'll give you an example. When you go to the house after work or after your business, and the first thing you do is to just switch on the television and find out what the news has got to say. Sometimes, well, most of the time, you may not find the valuable information. It's going to be someone has died, there's a disaster somewhere, there is an unrest somewhere. What valuable information are you getting from the news? What valuable information are you getting from social media, whereby the persons or the people you are looking at are probably maybe gossiping or portraying things that are not edifying to your being? Those are things you should avoid seeing. Apart from the fact that they are a waste of your time, whenever you open your eyes to take in information, it gets processed and stored in some parts of your brain. So knowingly or unknowingly, it starts to come up subconsciously, maybe in dreams, or maybe in your thought process. And if they are not beneficial, it can lead you to some expression of emotions that might not be beneficial for you. So it's so important to guard yourself, especially your eyes, because they are the light to your soul. And so allow the beautiful light to come through that nourishes you, and keep away the muck that is not going to add value to you. The third thing you need to do is to guard your ears. Yes, when you guard your ears, you make sure that you're not listening to things that are bringing you down. Sometimes it's your inner voice telling you you're not enough. Or sometimes it's an echo of what people have been saying to you repeatedly. Sometimes it's an echo of what media or society is saying you should be, telling you what you can or cannot do. There was a time in my life when I was told, you can't do that. No one has ever done it before. And rather than sit down and say, oh, sure, I can't do that. No one has ever done it before. I accepted it for a moment. I said, oh, really? Let me think about it. Within 24 hours, I bounced back and said, right, about that thing that it was an application about a training program, a qualification. And I said, well, about that qualification, I would like to apply, and I would like to do that thing that you said other people have never done before. And with determination and hard work, yes, there were many sleepless nights, I did it. I got that qualification because I chose to go against what I heard that was not going to serve me. Because at that point, I had made the decision I wasn't going to listen to things that were limiting beliefs. I can't. I would rather say I won't because I choose to, or I choose not to, than to say I cannot. That sounds like my hands are tied. I am not able to. I am able to. So guard your ears. What is your inner voice saying to you? What are people around you saying to you? Do not let those things enter, because they feed into your inner voice. And when you are able to silence those things, silence those voices, guess what? You are able to accept yourself and celebrate yourself and be a wonderful person. I was watching the Luca, one of the new movies from Disney, and it was quite interesting. There was a trailer actually that I watched, and this part was the two sea monsters that came onto land, became boys, and were trying to live the life of boys. One of them was relatively new and didn't know what it entailed being a boy rather than being a sea monster in the sea. And he was very cautious, very mindful of what he needed to do and what he could not do. And there was a more liberal sea monster, of course, now a boy, who was guiding him. And he told this very cautious and anxious little one, oh, no, you live your life. And if you if someone tells you you can't, you hear that voice telling you you can't, you say, Silencio, Bruno. I love that because when that anxious sea monster, who is now a boy, kept saying, Silencio, Bruno, he said it quite loudly and with conviction. He said it and was able to go ahead and do what needed to be done. So we need to sometimes tell those voices in our heads, Silencio, whatever their name is. So if you can give it a name and say Silencio, whatever they are. Okay? So that is guarding your ears. The next thing is to guard your mouth. The reason why I say guard your mouth is you need to be mindful of what you put into your mouth. Is it food? That food, is it nourishing? Or is it the food that is going to cause inflammation? We all know that there are certain foods that are not particularly beneficial to us. Highly processed foods. Those are the ones that go into our system and cause problems. What are you doing to prevent the ingestion of that food? Also, there are the other things that we put into our mouths, like alcohol, excess alcohol. In moments of anxiety and overwhelm, when people are feeling dejected, what do we see on television? Most of the movies, if someone is upset, what's the first thing they do? They get home after a hard day at work and pour themselves some alcohol, depending on what their choice is. Some it's wine, some it's vodka. And it's made as though it's a societal norm. That has an influence on us. And by virtue of having that influence on us, we feel that it's normal. When I'm stressed, when I'm overwhelmed, if I've had a rough day at work, all I need to do is to get home, pour myself a glass of something, a drink on the rocks or some wine, and drink. And most times you might drink 2 glasses or you might drink the whole bottle, depending. So being a guard for what goes into your mouth, such that there are things that allow you to love yourself, to care for yourself, to enhance your well-being is so important. And the 5th thing I would like to share with you that you can do on a daily basis is to speak life to yourself. Yes, speak life to yourself. It is said, the power of life and death lie in the tongue. The 2 words that make a phrase, the most powerful phrase in the English language, I am. Whatever follows I am is powerful. So what are you qualifying I am with? What are you describing yourself as when you say I am? When I was younger, I had a friend, And in school, this person was very, very funny. He loved to have fun with everybody else and crack jokes. So one day, while we were in class, it was a busy day and it was really hot. And everybody really wanted to just go home. We've had enough. And then someone says, "Oh, goodness me, I'm tired." And this guy goes up and says, "Hi, I'm John. Pleased to meet you." At that point, we all found it funny. But knowing what I know now, while it was a funny thing, that person who says, "I am tired," he's just called himself that he's tired. So this boy comes and, as a form of a joke, say, "I am John. Pleased to meet you. Tired?" I want us to think about what we say to ourselves. Sometimes we go ahead and say things like, "I'm a failure." I have called myself that in the past. What are we saying? I am enough. I am worthy. I am abundant. I am excellent. I am amazing. Yes, say that to you. Say it to yourself. Sometimes even look yourself in the mirror and say, "I am." Say your name, make it personal to you. Look yourself in the mirror straight in the eye, say, "I am beautiful. I am courageous." Speak life into yourself. I'm going to do a quick recap of the 5 daily habits that you can do to accept yourself more. The first was to give yourself a daily hug. Set an alarm on your phone or on your watch twice, 3 times, 4 times a day. When it buzzes, stop and give yourself a hug for about 5 seconds or more if you want to. Number 2, place a guard over your eyes. Limit the kind of nasty things that come through that you see and you pay attention to. 3, place a guard over your ears. Restrict what goes into your ears, what you listen to. The self-talk, the inner self-talk. Tell your inner villain, "Silencio, villain." And the external ones, turn down the volume. Don't let them go in. Don't let that negativity go in. The 4th is to guard your mouth. The kind of food that does not nourish you, the kind of drink that does not nourish you, refrain from putting in your mouth, because they have the impact of inflammation, emotional turmoil, and everything else that comes with it. And the 5th and final one is to speak life to yourself. I do not know who needs to hear this today, but I want you to think about it. Reach out to somebody, share this with them. Let them know that there are ways that they can put these things into practice on a daily basis. All these things just take a little bit of time. And once you've set it in motion, it's a done deal. Do it enough times and it becomes a habitual practice, such that you speak life to yourself, you hug yourself, and you're accepting of yourself no matter what. This is Dr. Dini from Drew Academy. I'll see you next time, and do have a beautiful day. Bye.